Do 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 do. Hey, it works. All right. What's the delay here? Damn, that's a long delay. That's a long delay on that shit. All right. I don't know if anybody's here. I'm gonna pop out the chat. We're doing a live stream, motherfuckers. Doopity doo, says AJ Wright. How you doopity doing, buddy? How you doopity doing? Pause the stream so it doesn't fuck me up. Make sure the screen is correct. Everything's correct. All right. I don't know how many people we got watching. Man in the Mask, how you doing? Boy, this is just like a who's who of human oddities. Anyway, as I said, I don't know how many people are watching. It's not updating on the control panel, but I see a couple of you there. So what do you guys think the stream is about? What do you guys think the stream is about? I'm going to be able to take questions from the chat at some point, so I want you guys to be ready for that. You can interact. I just got to post a tweet. Streaming now. YouTube.com/slimebeast. What do you think we're going to be doing in this stream? What do you think we're going to be doing? Nachos? No. Leaked audio? No. Okay, Team Random 21, how you doing? I got news for you. It's not about nachos. It's not about leaked audio. Well, not directly. I'm not going to be playing leaked audio. Aaron Roberts, how you doing? I'm just hyping it up like a wrestling promoter for no reason. I'm being a dick. I'm actually just being a dick, and I'm just holding back. I'm wasting people's time. I'm wasting someone very specific's time here. All right. Typing. Did I say hello, Aaron Roberts? I'm not sure. Oh, right, the dude is going to talk to you, says Team Random 21. Which dude? Which dude? Who's talking to me? All right. I'm waiting on... Okay, ready? Cool. Let me see if I know how to call on here. You're going to have to let me know if the sound is okay, everybody. I can't unmute myself. Well, is it working on your end? Put that in the chat. I'm gonna be in a call with somebody. Probably not who you expect. It says awaiting endpoint. True. Come to the Too Spooky channel, and I will drag you to a private voice room. Okay. So, minor thing, I was trying to do a call in DMs. What I'll do is I'll drag this person to the private chat. Oh, it says awaiting endpoint still. Oh, no! Is Discord not working? Ooh, I think Discord's not working. Let's see. It still says awaiting endpoint. Wouldn't that be funny? Wouldn't that be funny if all this setup took place and Discord's not working? Awaiting endpoint. Let me... Fucking hell. There has to always be a problem, right? Whenever you try to live stream, awaiting endpoint. I'm going to Google this. Aha. Okay. Yeah. It's giving me this, it's giving me the same issue. All right, well, this will give you some time in chat to try to figure out who I'm going to be talking to. You will not guess it, but that's fine. Waiting endpoint, yeah. All right, let's see if I can get this dude on Skype. Skype, question mark? I'll send him in the DMs. Let me check the chat. Are you happy now, Slime Beast? They're probably quivering, says Infinite Cloning. That's a mixed answer. I'm happy whenever truth comes out, no matter what it is. No matter what it is, I'm happy when truth comes out. So I am happy in that regard. Do-do-do-do. I'm going to keep trying to call just in case it randomly works. It'll be worth it. Once this all works out, it'll be worth it. Don't worry. Don't worry, everybody. Don't sweat it. Does anybody have any more questions while we wait here? Hello, Nightmare Files. Hello, Puppy Fight. Or Puppy Fucker, as you were called by the Creepypasta convention people. Because insulting people who might come to the convention is the key thing. Hello. Is it working?
Oh, is it good now?
Hey! All right.
There we go. Finally. Thank God. I don't have to try and log into Skype. Jesus.
All right.
That would have been hell.
Yeah, Skype is shit. All right. Anyway. So, I've got people in the chat. Some people have guessed what this is about. One guess was nachos.
That's a fair guess.
Yeah, fair guess. So I don't know. We just talked. Yep, Infinite Cloning got it. Infinite Cloning got it. He knows who you are. So did you want to... I don't know how you want to do this because we just barely talked about this just now, so forgive me if I do this inappropriately, but do you want to introduce yourself, or...
Sure. My handle on Too Spooky and pretty much everywhere except for like YouTube is the Virtuoso. I worked with the Creepypasta convention. I was on their business team, handled a lot of the security risk assessment for the convention that we were planning, and they basically tried to handle a lot of the behind-the-scenes stuff with it.
Right. Okay, so again, I don't want to take control too much because you came to me and you said you wanted to, do this and everything. So I don't want to, encourage or push anything in a certain way. So I just want to kind of let you say what you want to say or do what you want to do, and we'll discuss it back and forth, whatever. So.
I mean, honestly, what I really wanted this to do, because I know that I did this in the past with some people to try and assuage some of the concerns back when the con was still getting off the ground. I just kind of want to answer questions, really. And now that things have taken the course they are, I think answering questions is a really good thing to do right now.
All right, I guess.
And I'm sure. Sorry. Oh yeah, I'll say this. I know people are probably already recognizing my voice. Yes, and in the recordings that were posted.
Right.
That sound is probably familiar. Every couple seconds, it's me hitting a vape.
Well, so I guess basically, I'm trying to think of what's the first question out of many. Is the Creepypasta convention? What is going on with that? Is it? Is it even a thing anymore?
As far as I'm aware, pretty dead in the water.
Okay.
With this. Also, you might want to change the title on this stream.
Oh, fuck yeah.
That's Chit Chat with Xylon. I am most definitely not Xylon. Last I checked.
I'll change it to Chit Chat with not Xylon. No. Chit Chat regarding PastaCon, I guess.
Carnage Clown. Yeah, the con already did happen. It was at an Arby's. You missed it.
So the title should be changed. That explains why people were guessing that I was talking to Xylon. I haven't streamed in a long frickin' time, so...
Yeah. Wait, let me refresh it so that it still says Chit Chat with Xylon for me. It'll pop over soon enough.
Well, so yeah, you would say that the Creepypasta convention, I mean, it's kind of an odd thing because as long as somebody wants to do a Creepypasta convention and as long as they, plan it to a certain extent, I mean, it's not like the Creepypasta convention won't happen, but you basically have said, I guess, that it's dead in the water. I don't know. I'm trying to get back on track with after I fucked up the title.
Right. There we go.
Yeah.
Really. Sorry, could you repeat the question at this point? Because I'm too busy looking at chat now.
Oh yeah. Well, don't.
Seeing what people are saying.
Le Monde 2007 says you're doing bong hits, so I wouldn't worry too much.
Oh yeah, one sec.
Yeah, there you go. Wait, hang on one second.
But
okay.
There we go. There's the sound effect.
The question was basically, so the Creepypasta convention, this one at least is canceled.
Pretty much something may come up in the future, probably not involving me, especially
Well,
now that I'm talking to
fucking
you. But
God. Yeah, I mean, I would assume if anybody out there listens to this at any point and wants to do a creepypasta convention, go to people who do conventions first. Don't immediately go to like your friends first and say we're the committee. Go out there and find people with experience in conventions, and then bring other people in once you find out if it's feasible and so on and so forth.
oh yeah, no, and that was really the issue from day one when I joined in. It was pretty much the whole reason that the whole convention went live when it did was because they needed people to help them because they had literally no one.
Right.
The people involved with working on it in the major team had some experience with conventions, so it was people weren't completely inexperienced. I
Right.
want to put that out there. It wasn't just the whole thing of no one's done a convention before. I don't even know what's the first step to
Right.
even booking a location. No, it wasn't anything of that caliber.
Yeah, because I remember one of Baron Fist's things was event planner, so I figured, well, that's good. You have, an event
Yeah,
planner. There you go.
yeah. No, Fist has done works with conventions in the past in different capacities. So he does have a bit of knowledge on making it work.
Now, oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Quick thing, Le Mans
Right.
2007. Did the audio leak sink in, or did it fall apart on its own? It seems like it was leaks. Um, I was online last night in the Discord before it got shut down.
Oh, the
um,
Discord's actually closed?
as far as I'm aware,
Wow.
I run one of the side ones, and of course, the one that I'm running is still up, but it has all 4 members. No one's really talked in it. Let me check it actually to see if people left it. Fist left it. That's the only person. Otherwise,
Now, you're sure you.
that's
I hate. This is kind of just a random question, but you're sure that you haven't been kicked from it?
as far as I'm aware, because Fist has nothing wrong with me. I have nothing wrong with Fist.
Mm-hmm.
Of all the people in here that I think deserve at least a little bit of sympathy, I think it's Fist. He's put so much honest effort into this,
Right.
and I think his biggest mistake that he made when we were establishing this was the people that he brought on initially. If he had not have brought on people like Vincent, MCP, and Murphy,
Mm-hmm.
I don't think we'd have nearly as many problems as we did. And
Right.
I told him that point blank day one when he brought me on the team. I told him that it was a mistake because it pretty much establishes, even though we personally, as like a convention, did not have an opinion on it,
Right.
it pretty much put us on one side of the argument.
I would see. This is the thing that I thought. When I was first approached by Shadow Swimmer, and he said, people from the wiki and people from No Sleep are putting it together. My thing was, well, I don't necessarily like certain people from the wiki, but more power to you. I won't be there, but here's some thoughts on what you probably would maybe need to do. But I'm not going to be there. And then this thing about
Yeah.
we're bringing in all these other people, and we're bringing in Mr. Creepypasta, we're bringing in Vincent Vinacava, we're bringing in Murphy, we're bringing in Murphy's friends, and then it became a thing of, oh damn it, now I gotta make sure that people don't pay into a convention and Mr. Creepypasta, oh, day of the convention, turns out he can't attend. Something else came up, and here are his pictures in Vegas. Like then it became a thing where
Another
I
trip
was
to
like,
Vegas.
I have to do due diligence. Now I have to say, okay, maybe not a good idea, everybody. But so I
Yeah,
was,
and
I
with
was like more power to them when it was just the main dudes, I guess.
yeah, and I guess with and one thing that I do because I know well, we were hiding the information for a period of time. I don't know why. I guess it was just to have all our ducks in a row for when we announced it. But considering the current state of things, I don't feel too bad saying it. But the con was supposed to be a nonprofit charity event
Mm-hmm.
first and foremost.
Well, I remember them
In the
saying.
stages that
Oh,
we
go
were
ahead.
in.
Sorry.
Oh no, no. Go ahead and ask your question if you
I
have
was
one.
gonna say I remembered somebody saying, I don't know whether it was the main account on Twitter or somebody. I vaguely remember somebody saying that profits would go to like the next convention or something.
Um, that wasn't real. That wasn't really the plan.
Right. Okay.
What it was more is that the major profits were going from like ticket sales and everything. Ticket sales and all of those sorts of things were going to all be donated to a set of charities that we were picking out.
Right.
I know my suggestion had been Doctors Without Borders
Mm-hmm.
was one that I had already put into our little cumulative Google Doc that we had for reaching out to for donations. So that
Right.
was the real big plan. And we were going to launch as a nonprofit so that we could try and, you know, basically make it like, hey, we're not in this for the money. No one was
Right.
in it for the money, believe it or
I feel
not.
like.
Even
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
oh no no no, go ahead go ahead.
I feel like a convention is so expensive to run and maintain and keep up with problems that arise even up till the day of the convention that I'm kind of like wondering what would be left for charity. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I kind of
Well,
feel like.
that's the thing is that with being a nonprofit, there are a lot of grants and government funding
Mm-hmm.
that you can secure
I see. Okay.
to establish things like a location, um, those like locations, sponsors, those sorts of things.
Right.
Basically, it was going to make it so that out of pocket, we would not have to bankrupt ourselves to put on the first convention.
Right. I would really like to see Fist organize a convention, as I said, going about it in a slightly more, logical way in terms of. I mean, we've been over the things millions of times. Like, I've been over it on Twitter and on videos and stuff like that. But, so I'm sure it's just like beating a dead horse. But as I said, I wouldn't mind seeing Fist if he's, very much invested in it, if he's very much wants to do it, if he wants to do charitable stuff with it. I would say, not that he will ever see this, but I would say, keep doing the convention just differently than previous with different people possibly and different planning. I don't know, but yeah.
Yeah,
So we got some
sorry.
questions in the chat. I don't know if it feels kind of weird to say we've got questions in the chat, but
Oh yeah, I can see them all.
yeah, I don't want them to scroll past and then I'll forget. So some Team Random 21 says, "What were the reactions to the leaks?" If you
Um,
know.
um, really, I remember because you dropped that audio around what, like 3 or 4 a.m. last
Right.
night.
Mm-hmm.
I think 3 a.m. was when
I
you
think it was
dropped it.
2 a.m. here. Maybe it wasn't
Yeah, I mean,
2 a.m. I
I'm
don't
in the
know.
same time zone as you, so
Yeah.
EST. Um, I know that when that video dropped about 30 minutes after, Banning was in the Discord. He added everyone and said, "Hey guys, we've got an issue, a bad one."
Mm. We've got an
So a
issue.
handful
People
of us
know that we've been talking about killing people.
You're right.
Oh man.
People hopped in. People hopped into the Discord, and we talked for about an hour. Banning got pulled away. He was like, "Hey, Vincent's calling me. I'll be back."
Oof.
And then he was never back. So I can
Right.
only imagine what that conversation was. But
Well,
there's a whole lot of
legitimately. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
no. Basically, the general consensus. I think everyone was like, "Oh, Jesus fuck." I don't think there's really a way to. People are literally scrambling. They were like, "We don't even know what to do anymore."
Right. Yeah, I legitimately hope, as much as I don't like Callum, and it's not a secret, so I can say that openly. As much as I don't like Callum, it's not. He didn't initiate that conversation, so if Vincent Vinacava calls him or talks to him or whatever, I really hope to fuck that it's not something blamed on Callum or something, because that was 100% Kava starting the conversation and Callum feeding
Yeah,
into
you
it, and
see,
I
because
have no idea why, but
I had joined into the conversation late. I know in the audio it says that I jumped in like it was probably like an hour or 2 hours late because I did miss that meeting
mm-hmm.
because I was watching a movie. I know. People in the chat, please lambast me. Um, yeah, and so I jumped in and it was not even 5 minutes after I joined that that's where the conversation went.
Right,
Like,
right,
it was quick.
right. Okay, I'm not sure if we have any other questions, but I guess do you want me to just ask you random shit?
You may as well. I mean, that's the easiest way because I'm not someone who's good to just just dumping
Right.
information. And I mean, just shoot questions at me and I'll try and.
So I guess my number one question would be if you this is kind of putting you on the spot, but if you had to come up with a percentage, what percentage of the chat was about the convention and what percentage was about me and other people who were giving them shit?
Um, I'll do a before and after.
Okay.
Before I joined, I can only imagine it was probably like 45% about the convention,
Mm-hmm.
65% complaining about people.
Right.
After I joined and after I had some sit downs with Fist and a couple other people and said, look, we can't do this, it shifted more to it was like, I'd say 70% convention, 30% complaining. I mean, there's a little channel in the Discord just called Frustration Station, where we
Frustration.
pretty much were like, if you're going to complain about people, if you're going to
Yeah.
complain about anything, put it in here so that you're not clogging up our general chat where we're
Right.
actually
Right.
trying to figure stuff out.
Yeah, I know on the Too Spooky Discord, I think it's called Vent Your Spleen or something, or it was. I don't know if it's still there, but yeah, I mean I can get behind that. Having a channel just to bitch about stuff, that seems like a good idea. Um, yeah, so I guess we have a question from AJ Wright that says, "What made you do it?" I'm not sure. I think I
What do you
think
mean? What made me join?
I we could handle both. I
Uh,
mean, both are interesting questions. What made you join? And I think he's talking about what made you like talk to me or something. I don't know.
I don't know.
Like
What
now,
made me join? I joined partially because initially I was like, this is going to be a shit show. I
Right.
wanted to see what was going to happen. I wanted that inside look.
Mm-hmm.
And eventually, after I saw what was actually like, that there was something actually here under the terrible PR mess that was happening constantly, there was something salvageable. I kind of shifted my focus into trying to salvage and pivot. Because my whole goal overall is right around at a year out from the convention, I wanted to try and shift out all of the people that were in the convention that were causing us these issues.
Right.
Which I'm not even going to name names at this point because people can assume who I'm referring to.
Yeah, I would assume so. And I guess I have a follow up question to that, so I don't know if we should do that first, but um, I guess my follow up question would be, uh, and again, feel free to not answer something or to, whatever. It's not like tell me this, tell me that, tell me this. But
Yeah, no.
it, if you want to say what was like the reaction to wanting to remove certain people that may have been torpedoing the convention, like did you meet resistance or was it like
Um, for some, it was kind of a polarizing subject. Some
mm,
of us could look at it in the very business mindset sort of way of, yeah, this if we're actually going to become something legitimate, we can't have certain people who are going to go on Twitter and egg on third parties into publicly harassing detractors.
right,
And there were others who were like, "Oh well, we're all friends here. Come on, guys, let's not do it." And a lot of three strike systems were established, and getting a strike was about as hard as getting struck by lightning in some cases.
so I guess I want to get to the other half of AJ Wright's question, but this is just too interesting. um, would you say in your opinion was talking about murdering me and knowing where I live and the fact that they could get away with it, was that like a first strike out of three? No,
um,
don't talk about killing him again, or you're gonna be in trouble.
that's the thing is because the night after that happened, I went to Fist and I was like, "Look, this isn't okay. This is really not okay.
Right.
This is like beyond not okay." I was straight up. I was like, "Look, we need to kick him out of the group with this."
Right. But he
let
wasn't.
alone,
Yeah.
because that's like a grab her by the pussy level.
Jesus Christ.
Like, Jesus Christ, you can't say these things.
Oh.
And really, I know because we were reminiscing on it last night in that group.
Hmm.
You know, there might have been something salvageable if he had just said, "Man, I fantasized about killing that fucker." It's like, okay, look, that's a bit far. That's
Right.
a bit far, man.
Right.
But you reel it back. But then when he goes to the step of, "Oh, and I know where he lives," it's like, whoa. Are you sure you haven't just been fantasizing at
E-
this point?
Every day at 2 o'clock, he goes out to get the mail in his shorts and gray shirt.
Right? And
Like,
it's just
what?
and then when he went as far as to go, oh well, I could probably just get away with 10 years. It's like, okay, man, look, calm down.
Mm.
I was sitting there, like, I took off my headphones and I was like, Jesus fucking Christ. I
Jeez.
just rubbed my eyes and I was just like,
Right.
oh my God.
So I guess we can finally get to AJ Wright's the second part of what he might have been asking, and then we got to move on to all these other people. Uh, what made you do it? That could also mean what made you uh, contact me and talk in this live stream. I don't know. Possibly.
I just want to clear the air,
Right.
honestly, because I figure clearing the air is the smartest thing to do.
See,
I'm not trying to salvage anything for anyone. I
this is
told
like
everyone I don't have a reputation to try and pull out of the wreckage of this.
right.
I don't.
This
I'm
is
not like these people who have that.
this is basically what we're doing right now, and it doesn't have to be with me, and it doesn't have to be in a voice call. It doesn't have to be any of these specifics that we're doing right now. But essentially, what we're doing right now is what somebody from the group should have done. The people who were causing problems. This is what should have been done a long time ago. Is sitting down with someone and explaining, yeah, I did that, I said that, but we really want to do the convention. It's we're changing it now, we're doing this, but so I think a lot of it was the silence, and it's like when there's silence, it seems like acceptance, and you know, to me at least, it seemed very much like acceptance because it was just the Twitter account is going to keep blocking you guys. People are going to keep encouraging others to attack people who don't like the convention plans, and there's just going to be all this silence, and it just seemed like everybody was completely on board with it. So this is what needed to happen. I think is either Callum or even Kava or whoever, just talking with somebody who disagreed, not necessarily me, just somebody, and sitting down and clearing the air. But
Well, yeah, and I completely agree. That's why I don't. I can finally admit this information now that things are the way they are. I did a sit down with a Bisme, Lolliot, and one other person. Can't remember their username right now. I'm sorry. It's not that you're unimportant. I just can't remember your username.
I think his username was unimportanto42. I think.
Unimportanto 42. There, it was. But yeah, I sat down and I just kind of because they were the people who were posting on every single Twitter post. Just asking questions most of the time, not and I did get into arguments about this with Callum and a few other people. Just they're like, these people are being trolls. They're trying to. It's like it's not trolling asking a question.
Right, right. Yeah,
Trolling is going fuck you and spamming and using the hashtag just to spam on useless shit. That's trolling.
yeah. I mean, I will troll people. Like if I feel, especially if somebody is, uh, being disrespectful or doing whatever, I will go into troll mode. So I am guilty of that, and I will admit that. But the people around me don't usually do that. It's usually just me. So we got another thing from Team Random 21. Do you think if MCP Vincent and Old Man Murphy didn't join, the chances of the convention working would be better? I mean, we kind of discussed that a little bit, but I don't know if you. I'll give the
Yeah,
opportunity if you
I'll
want
go
to.
into it a little bit more. Fist himself told me that his whole thing was that he wanted the convention. Part of the reason he wanted these people on was not because of an alignment with their personal beliefs or because he per se likes them,
Mm-hmm.
is because we can network through them.
Right. And
Vincent
that's a
alone
valid
was
business point. That's a valid business tactic. It's not,
Yeah, Vincent
you know.
alone was already setting up to arrange us with several different people, several different companies, just through the people that he happens to know through the works he's done to set up and try and discuss sponsorship.
Hmm.
And that's a very big thing. And as much as MCP's done in the past, and I'm not going to even try and defend him because I don't want to defend him. I don't think there's a defense for what he's done, but that's a whole other topic. He has a YouTube channel with around what, 1 million subs. Is it still
Right.
over 1 million subs,
I
or did he
believe
drop
so.
back down to like 900 something thousand?
Yeah, I think somebody probably would have told me if it dropped. I haven't checked myself, but probably somebody would have said. And
Yeah, but I
I
mean
just want
that's a
to
million
clarify.
people.
I just want to clarify really quickly, just for anybody who might, need it clarified. Not everybody on the Discord for the Creepypasta convention, loves Mr. Creepypasta and loves all these people and thinks they did nothing wrong. It's just, because when you said that, I sort of realized, oh yeah, I should probably clarify. This isn't like the Mr. Creepypasta fan club, and I'm not talking to somebody who's a member of that. you know. But yeah. Uh oh, did I lose
Yeah.
you? Oh no, sorry.
A few people ask questions a lot. It was Practical. It was Practical. Thank you, Puppy Fight. Yeah, Practical
So,
was the third person I had spoken to.
we got a question from Infinite Cloning. How many people were recruited after you, and how were they vetted? Also, how were you vetted? I mean, again, that kind of, again, that's the thing of, if you feel like answering it, because that kind of, I don't know if that might get into, who they were or anything like that. I don't really, yeah.
Sorry, repeat that. You cut out for me.
Oh, sorry. I don't. This is again one of those things. Answer if you want to answer it, or don't if you don't, because I don't know if this will get into anything about. Uh, I don't really need to know everybody who was in the group. You know what I mean? That's like
Yeah.
their business. But yeah. So I guess just basically, generally, um, were people recruited after you, and how were they and you vetted?
There weren't that many people picked up after me, funnily enough.
Mm-hmm.
The only person who was of note who was picked up after me was Windingus, who
Right.
she apparently knows Spike through some way. I never really questioned. She's also a writer.
Right.
She's written, never bothered to ask.
So
I know that she does writing though, so
it would seem like the majority of people recruited were friends of Mr. Creepypasta, Murphy, and Kava.
yeah, that was
Yeah.
the issue.
Okay.
Our web designer was people that Vincent and Murphy knew. Our whole web design team was that. There were a few people who just never got on, who I guess were a part of the No Sleep moderator team.
Oh yeah.
They were
Okay.
never once online the whole time I was in that group,
Jeez.
which was a little over a month and a half,
Right.
I think, or a month and a half, yeah.
Hmm.
Um, Murphy's friends, I don't even have to tell you, people know who they are. It wasn't Black Pasta was not, I will say that. Black Pasta was not in the chat. So
He wasn't in the chat, and he wasn't like invited or anything.
no, he
Yeah.
was not attached to the
Right.
everything he was doing was him operating um operating of his own accord as a
Right.
third party, basically.
Yeah. Basically, with some egging on from Murphy, but. I don't know. Did you see that on Twitter where Murphy was telling him, to give me hell and all stuff like that?
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
trust me, I reached a
Okay.
literal point with it where I just had to stop looking at Twitter
Right.
a
Right.
little bit because it was every single day I was logging on,
Right.
either banning and posted a new video that wasn't telling people anything and just making a lot of people more upset, or Murphy was egging someone on to do
Right.
something that wasn't okay.
Right. Yeah.
So
Because.
I did actually, I took about a week or two off of Twitter because I just couldn't, I couldn't physically could not handle the stress of looking at that and
Right.
then having to go, oh Jesus, let me look at the chat and see what that is.
Yeah. Because when I mentioned egging on Mr. Black Pasta, I was like, oh wait a minute, you may not actually know what that's referring to.
Yeah, no. Trust me, I kept a finger on the pulse of things.
Right.
Out of everyone in that group, I was probably the most moderate.
Hmm. Now,
to in terms of handling things, and more leaning towards your side of views. But that's again
That's the big
discussion,
sin, I guess. Um,
other discussion.
so, it was there again? This is I always keep clarifying this. Is just if you want to answer. Was there discussion of like Mr. Black Pasta and sort of like the hangers-on who were sort of giving the convention a bad name, and like was there discussion of handling those people or endorsing them or anything like that?
Yes, there was a lot of question. There was a lot of discussion and questioning, and that's first of all. There were a lot of discussions.
Okay,
There were a
I
lot of
got you.
discussions.
I got
Most
you.
of them instigated by me, but yes, there were a lot of discussions.
Right. So I guess the other part of Infinite Cloning's question, uh, how were you vetted? And I guess we don't really know how other people were vetted, but
Yeah, I guess the vetting process, since that was already leaked, it was the same one that
oh,
I,
okay,
as I'm aware,
okay,
was leaked. It was, hey, what's your experience with conventions? What's your experience with the creepypasta community? And do you have any association with slime beast? Pretty much in that order.
oh man. Let's see, what do we got here? Lamond, I'm scrolling through. I'm probably missing new messages, so I apologize. I'm leaving it scrolled
Yeah.
up, so purposefully, so I don't miss questions.
Yeah.
Lamond says, "Were you there during the conversation where they scoff at authors' rights? What did you think about that?" And I think you were,
I was
because
there for the whole conversation. Yeah.
yeah, I thought I
If you
remembered.
go back through, you can hear me talking.
Yeah, I think you were talking at the end, so
Hear
that
me
would be
on the audio.
yeah.
I was talking in all of them except for the one where Vincent gave his very famous quote. I know
He,
where that
he
fucker lives.
he's got a couple famous quotes now. He's got "I know where he lives," and he's got "I am so glad I
Glad I
neutered that
neutered that
fucking asshole."
fucking asshole. I'm so glad I neutered that fucking asshole's
Oh
channel.
God.
Oh yeah, trust me. I talked with Christopher Warren quite a bit.
Let's
So
see.
trust me, that's a reoccurring joke. Um,
What did Spike? What did Spike, the magical blue man, contribute to the server or throw shade to? Infinite Cloning asks. I guess that basically would be: was Mr. Creepypasta ever actually on the server? Did he contribute anything to?
oh yeah, he
Oh,
hopped
okay.
in a lot. He hopped into discussions a lot. He did a good job. He did a lot better job than Vincent at staying in sort of that like guest. He didn't overstep his bounds
Right,
really.
right,
He was really just, he would just be like, hey, here's an idea, here's an idea, here's an idea. He was never trying to get on the ground and be like, okay guys, here's how we should try to budget things. Oh, here's 50 locations you can check out. And I'm not saying Vincent went that far, but
right.
Vincent was very much more sort of in that gray area, I guess. But I think that's also partly because he was potentially setting us up with a lot to, to use. So
I should check to make sure that the stream title has changed, because somebody's asking, has Xylon been purged for contacting me? And I'm not sure
um,
if you think, if people are under the impression you're Xylon. This is not Xylon,
no, no,
just
no,
in
no, no.
case.
The chat's right. The title's right. It says,
Okay,
yeah, just
good.
says Chit Chat regarding
Good. Yeah.
PastaCon.
It might be,
Because
if anybody sees the old title about Xylon, that's the last stream I did, so you would need to reload. But um,
um,
I would assume that's something from the old title, not really a
yeah.
question that. Let's see. Is Kava aware of this conversation? I'm gonna venture to answer and say yes.
Probably. I'm surprised I haven't gotten a message yet, honestly.
It'll probably be after the
I'm
thing's
surprised I
over.
have not been getting messages yet.
I would assume he doesn't want you like reading the messages on the stream or something.
Yeah.
Uh, what do we got here?
I'm looking as
Do you
well.
view Kava as more defensible than MCP? I think that's probably reversed.
Yeah. Um,
Gonna be quiet now as we scroll down.
okay. Someone asks, why were they so worried about you? I think that's a fair question to kind of go into a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, you
Um,
can hear sort of in the leaked audio them saying, he could take us down. He's not smart enough to do it, but one
well, yeah, and
random
I
one
think,
random thing that he doesn't know he's doing could take us down.
right,
Oy.
yeah.
And I didn't want to take you guys down. I wanted to ask you guys to please not do
Yeah,
certain
no,
things you were doing.
and I even said, I'm like, you guys, I was like, because I linked the video you had posted where you were like, I think we got off on the wrong foot. I'm like, hey guys, maybe let's take this olive branch. And then Bang's like, nope, we're blocking him. I'm like,
Yeah.
fuck, okay, I guess let's go down this path.
Boy.
Because I genuinely, as sappy and disingenuous it may sound, I actually did want the community to kind of come together. I wanted to bridge that gap a little bit with this convention, maybe.
Right.
Because this community is very divided right now because of people.
I would
Because people
say,
don't know how to keep their mouths shut.
as
People
sort
do
of,
stupid things.
yeah.
And when people do their stupid things, they defend it. No one can admit fault
Right.
in this community. And I think that's a major issue. And I was really hoping that doing this convention, especially as a nonprofit, would not just help like the public image of the online horror and creepypasta community, but it would help the community kind of mend that divide just a little bit.
I would say, as unsolicited advice as per usual, I would say, if if I have any say whatsoever, I would say definitely try to talk to Fist about legitimately rebooting the idea of a creepypasta convention and starting over in, sort of a different way. Because I mean,
Mm-hmm.
there's been question, and I sort of agree with it, where people say, does creepypasta need a convention? You could just have horror conventions and have a presence there, different things like that. But if you and Fist both very much believe in it, and you both very much have a business mind about it, I would say that you two should probably continue on and just let this be a like stepping stone. Let this be a point where the body was sick and the sickness was purged. In other words.
Yeah, yeah,
And
and I mean, and even when I joined, and I'll tell you this, my whole thing was I wanted to pivot away from it being a creepypasta convention because creepypasta is a small piece of online horror as a whole.
right,
So what I wanted to do more, and I greatly expressed this in trying to, and I was actually getting some headway on it, was turning this from creepypasta convention into the online horror convention
yeah, I
to
could
be
see that.
very all inclusive. Which I think that's definitely something you can make a whole convention around
Right.
because there's so much in online horror, and a lot of these people don't have the representation outside of their respective channels, blogs, Twitter accounts, Tumblrs,
Now,
outside of their little spheres.
the question that I think we started out with was why. I forget how it was phrased, but it was something like, "Why are they so afraid of Slime Beast?" or something like that. And I just wanted to circle back and make sure there was nothing else we wanted to say about that before moving on. Like,
Yeah,
if you had something you wanted to say to them, or
yeah. Honestly, I think it was some of it. I think was just the fact a lot of these people were friends with Vincent and Spike and Murphy, and I'm sure they all knew deep down that having them involved meant that all of their baggage came along with it. And I think that's where it came from, was that they knew there was going to be things said. And honestly, like I said before, people can't take criticism in this community.
right, right,
People just can't take criticism. So, instead of, handling it rationally and trying to, you know, answer it or respond to it, take it constructively or poke the holes in it that need to be poked, they just blocked people and
just
ignored,
yeah,
which
basically.
I didn't agree with.
We got, I guess, Nightmare Fanatics is. Are you afraid of any blowback from this?
Personally, no.
Okay.
There's nothing to
Okay.
blow back at
Well,
me.
that's
There's
that
nothing to
simple.
blow back at me. Again, I'll look at my Twitter right now. I have, how many followers do I have? I have 26 followers on Twitter.
Right.
My Tumblr account has like 70 followers, and probably 50% of that's bots. My YouTube account has 15, 16 subs. I don't really have an online presence. I'm a writer in the creepypasta community. I've never published anything.
Right.
I don't. There's nothing to attack me for.
Right.
There's nothing to blow back on me.
I guess maybe the only concern would be uh, people finding out where you live, as per certain
Fuck,
things.
find out where I live.
Yeah, I
Find
don't
out where
know.
I live, please.
Oh, jeez.
Please.
Damn.
Please. What are you gonna? I mean, what? It's not like I'm gonna go. Oh God, please don't. I'm not gonna act scared or anything. You know,
Right.
it happens. It's the internet. Doxing is a common occurrence these days.
I
We put
think
it all on our Facebooks. You know, how
the
can you
people.
pretend to be so surprised
Right.
when you put it on your personal Facebook? You know.
Right. I think the thing is, people should really think twice about dealing with someone who doesn't care if you come visit them. like maybe you wanna slow your roll and back up a bit if somebody's like, yeah, come by. It's like, oh,
Right.
oh, never mind. Um,
No,
like,
I live in the southeast. Yeah, I mean
yeah, same,
I don't
same.
think I need to expand upon or expand upon that.
Right.
Expand upon that.
What do we got here? I don't know if we have any more questions. Do we? Oh wait, no, I'm scrolled way up. Fuck. Uh,
Um,
I might miss something. I'm sorry if I do. Did they complain about any people you knew because of comments and critics? Or I
uh,
guess did they complain about other people besides me? I guess I don't know.
yeah, Lolliot, Abysme, Prascore. Those are three that I did. A lot of Lolliot complaints. Lolliot was a big one that was getting thrown around, and I know him personally, so it was kind of funny to me because what Lolliot's biggest claim to fame was that he purposefully wrote a bad story and got it to the top of No Sleep
Well, I mean
within a
that's the
day.
thing when you have a no sleep moderator, they're probably not going to like the guy who showed that their system was,
Their system shit,
scammable.
yeah.
Yeah.
And and he's the guy that wrote a valid criticism in essay form, and they were like, "Oh, he's a slime kid. He's drinking the Kool Aid," and like he's the most eloquent of anyone at the moment.
And I remember
Maybe let's
Xylon.
not
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
jump. Oh yeah, yeah. Go. Sorry. Go ahead.
No, I think that it's sort of like a delay in the call. I hate to keep interrupting.
No, you're
Um,
good.
I think it was Xylon specifically who was alleging that Lolliot and me were the same person. And I think that, probably comes with a lot of the reason he might have been particularly disliked is, Xylon has a few conspiracy theories. So.
I never heard much about that.
Oh, okay.
Personally, I don't put it past him because yes, he did have his conspiracy theories, but I can confirm Lolliot and Slime Beast are not the same people.
That reminds me about Xylon. I don't know. And again, any subjects you want to skip, we'll just skip. Uh, I noticed that Xylon seemed to be trying to hijack the Creepy Leaks hashtag. Is there any knowledge of that, or is that just
Yeah, he talked about it a little bit.
okay?
We shut that down pretty quick though,
I gotcha. Okay.
as a group. Yeah, even Vincent and Spike and everyone jumped on and was like, "Dude, if you just quit talking about it, it'll go away."
Right. Yeah, because I noticed in the leaked audio, which is up now on the channel, all those different clips. I noticed that he kept trying to bring it back to Chilling Tales for Dark Nights, which
Yeah, and
is like such
I
an
don't.
odd thing. I don't understand.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm personally not familiar with all of that drama,
Right.
so and because I've just stayed out of it.
Well,
But
um,
if you care to explain, I'm up to listen. But yeah, I stayed away from it.
basically, I mean, do you know? This is kind of a stupid, subject to get into personally, but do you know about Xylon X's past with like criminal record?
Yeah, I'm aware of it.
Okay. All right.
It was
Good.
a discussion. It was a discussion.
Okay.
I'll put
So
it that way. There was a discussion about it.
yeah, what happened was Chilling Tales for Dark Nights. They have certain PR issues with people who work with them, like mouthing off to people. Uh, they did a thing where in to protest like the net neutrality, or no, wait, actually it was Adpocalypse. To protest the Adpocalypse, Chilling Tales blacked out their channel
Hmm.
and said, we need other forms of revenue because YouTube is screwing us. And so
Hmm.
everybody said, "Oh, you're blacking out your channel to extort money out of people." And so Xylon X was one of those people. And so what happened was the wife of one of the, I think, voice actors who works with them posted on Facebook to Xylon saying, are you the same, putting his name, saying his name being on Facebook, his real name,
Yeah.
saying, are you the same such and such who was convicted of terrorism and extortion? And so Xylon X, then turned that into, she just doxed me, when it's like she Googled your name and saw the news
Docs
articles.
public record. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's the same thing as when MCP was going around saying people were doxing him because people know how to fucking use Google.
right. And, he uses his own name on his friggin', work listings, where he's seeking voice work and stuff. But,
Mm-hmm.
that was the whole thing with Chilling Tales, was basically he got into this big fight with them and then, said they doxed him by asking him if he was the same person. Different things like that. And as far as I can tell, since then has been basically trying to steer everything toward Chilling Tales if he can. That's part of that hijacking the hashtag thing. Is he was like, Creepy Leaks should be about Chilling Tales and how they're awful. And it's like, okay, dude, if you have
No.
problems, voice them, but it's not going to
Yeah.
change.
You can't hijack it like that. You can't go on this moral crusade.
Right.
No, no offense. I think what was discussed in the Creepy Leaks document was
Right.
a bit more how to put it, important
Direct,
to be
specific.
made public than
Right.
the fact that someone learned how to use Google and Googled your public record.
Right. I mean, it basically was like saying, this Channel Awesome document. Well, why isn't this about PewDiePie saying the N word? And it's like, because that's
Right?
not,
Or it's like,
that's totally different.
why isn't this about the fact that Doug Walker hasn't uploaded a video?
Oof.
It's like there's more pressing things to deal with. Come on,
Right.
guys.
I have to go AFK for like 2 seconds, but maybe I could leave you with a question somebody has here while I go do that. Jax Rumsgone says, should any or an alternative internet horror community exist in as opposed to the creepypasta community? So I guess since you were talking about making it like the online horror convention, while I go do this, maybe, I don't know, sort of put you on the spot. Maybe you could sort of say something about why you think it might be good to spread out into online horror and not just keep things as creepypasta. I don't know. If
Yeah,
you want, or you could just sing to them. I don't know. I'll be right back.
yeah, no, I'll go into that. Yeah, my whole thing with expanding into just the online horror community, not just creepypasta, is I feel like creepypasta is a very stunting phrase. Creepypasta, regardless of what anyone wants to say, creepypasta is more associated with these mediocre at best stories that deal with these icon characters, and I hate to refer to them as that because they've been so overplayed. And I just think that expanding into online horror could encompass, it can encompass, ARGs and all these sort of innovative, storytelling mediums. I mean, you see Twitter's like The Sun Vanished pop up, and he's at how many followers right now?
Lots.
7. He's at 100. Yeah, 100. Over 100. It's over the 300, 400K last I saw.
Wow.
He's, that's why I don't understand why you would want to limit yourself to creepypasta. It's like, really? You have so many more hard-hitting communities that exist online, and a lot of them, it's almost tribal. To relate to anyone who's ever been in the military, specifically the Navy, online horror is almost like the Navy. We're all technically a part of the same group, but people are so tribal and disassociate from one another that, I think that there really needs to be something to bring us together.
Right.
There needs to be something to kind of band everyone and band these tribes and unify us, at least in some ways, get some discussions going, get some collaboration,
Right.
How's it going, Abysme? I see you in the chat there.
I would venture to guess, if I can be ungenerous for a minute, I would venture to guess that any pushback against extending it past creepypasta was probably, in my opinion, probably based on the fact that making it about more than creepypasta makes it about more than the people who are involved. Like, if you're a creepypasta author, you want the event to be about what you write. You know what I mean? Like, if you open it up to more things, you're going to get outshined by ARGs, and you're going to get outshined by, the FNAF community, different things like that. But that's just my take on it. We have a question here. In your personal opinion, will this affect any of their careers? I don't think so. I don't know about you.
There's potentiality. I think as things continue to come out and people continue to say things, and I'm sure that they're either just going to ignore it, which I think is just as bad considering, audio leaked. This time it's not just something that an advertiser or someone we're looking to work with him to just chalk up to, drama. This is a bit more serious.
Right.
So he'll either ignore it and reap the consequences of that, or he's going to have to try and pick up the pieces and just salvage what he can from it, which I'm not sure how much he can. I'm not him. How's it going, Warren? See you in the chat as well.
I would say probably. I'm still scrolled up. So hi to Abysme, hi to Warren. I would say, personally speaking, I think that I don't think it'll affect Kava, and I don't think it'll affect Mr. Creepypasta just based on experience. I think that there is definite possibilities of Murphy having severe problems.
I'm waiting for Murphy to. Honestly, I'm waiting for Murphy to realize that ever since I've joined the convention, he's had me blocked on Twitter.
Oh, jeez.
Because I followed you and the CreepyLeaks account.
So he had you blocked and he didn't. Okay, yeah.
And he didn't know. No one knew. Vincent has me blocked. So does MCP.
They have blocked the person they were working with. That's cool.
They didn't even know.
Wow.
Again, I have no online identity.
Right.
How could they tell me apart from any random Joe Schmo?
Yeah. But I do think that Murphy probably will come out of this a little bit tainted in certain regards, because things are coming together where I don't want to say too much at this point, but there is a lot of stuff coming my way that shows he's behind a lot of shit that's been going on.
Yeah.
He's behind the impersonation accounts. He's behind a lot of different things that I haven't even told people about yet.
Yeah. And while I can't confirm that with my knowledge of the convention,
right,
from what you said and from, because he was the person that brought those things up in the convention chat.
Of course.
So I don't have any reason to assume he wouldn't, considering his track record.
Yeah.
I mean,
if the first person to ever talk about it is the same guy every time.
Yeah, right.
Either he's sitting there Googling Slime Beast all day, or he posted it.
Exactly, and it's like, I wouldn't put him past him doing either. Googling you all day.
Geez.
The man has a hate boner.
Yeah.
Stronger than anyone I've ever seen.
But no, his Twitter account says that he's above all that and he doesn't worry about anything. No, he's not worried. But yeah.
Right. I mean, the Creepypasta convention Twitter's still up as far as I'm aware.
Right.
They haven't even gotten around to deleting it yet. Granted, I think it's potentially. I don't know if they're going to want to make a public statement at some point, which I guess I'm beating him to the punch. Sorry, guys. Punch. Yeah. Sorry, guys.
Well,
yeah.
I don't know.
And the water.
It may stay up, and they may just decide. Mr. Creepypasta, Vincent Vinacava, Murphy, and Callum are going to do their own Creepypasta convention. Who knows? They've got the accounts, they've got the sites and everything. So,
you know what? I wish them the best of luck.
That would be funny.
I wish them the best of luck in having never getting anything done.
Let's see what we got. Do you think if this goes on, for anybody who may have just joined the Creepypasta convention, pretty much for as much as we know is canceled? Because I've seen a couple questions about, do you think it'll go well? Do you think it'll fuck up? As far as we know,
it's pretty much canceled.
Yeah,
it's pretty much canceled, you guys. 98% chance this is done. This is dead in the water after this. This isn't information disseminating like this is not something you recover from in your infancy. This is the same as getting hit in the head with a brick.
Jeez. I
I
would
mean,
say that as I've said previously, for anybody new, I would like to see Fist and possibly Virtuoso if he's still wants to sign up for a lot of bullshit. Um, I would like to see Fist and Virtuoso and whoever else wasn't engaging in bullshit. Go ahead and try to make a creepypasta convention out of the ashes of this one. Whatever.
I mean,
Uh,
I wouldn't even try to dig things out of the ashes.
uh,
Honestly, again, I'll make this a public statement. I'm always open to work on something like this. Like I said, I want to try and bring this community together, whether it be through a convention or something else.
right.
I'm open to working with people. I'm not one to burn bridges like others. Well, I guess I'm technically burning a bridge by doing this
Well,
conversation
I
in
mean, the
some
thing
people's
is,
eyes, but
yeah, I mean, by talking to me, they're going to burn the bridges with you.
and I mean but that's
So,
their decision. I'm
yeah,
not the one burning these bridges. I'm
right,
just reaching out because I feel like things need to be. We need to talk. People need to talk.
right.
If no one talks, it's just going to get worse.
So, Puppy Fight says, "Yo, I got a question!" Exclamation point! Exclamation point! Exclamation point! Did Murphy do anything for the Creepypasta Con? I still haven't seen him do shit for the website.
He developed a logo that at this point probably won't see the light of day because we were waiting on the trademark.
Oof.
But yes, he did actually develop a logo,
Wow.
his own logo. So we were actually hoping to get that out to help distance ourselves from Spike and Vincent and
Right.
that whole side of things. But you see how things go.
And I
You
guess I
invite the wrong people, and shit
right.
happens.
I guess this would be that would be a good branching off point from that question to was anybody doing anything other than what we've mentioned about Fist, and his investment in it, and Vincent Vinacava pulling together sponsors from people he knew or whatever. I guess the question would be was anybody did anybody do anything to get anything forward? I don't know.
I
Kind of an
mean,
odd question.
we did a lot of location scouting to figure out where we wanted to put the convention. Believe it or not, it was not. We did not mean to. We did not want to put it in the ocean. We didn't want it to go into the ocean. Yeah, we did a lot of location scouting. We did a lot of research into developing it into a nonprofit, um,
But I
based
mean,
on what
like,
states.
was that Fist and
That was me, Fist, Shadow Swimmer, and Windingus.
okay, yeah. I guess my question is, you had frick. The I'm trying to think in terms of actual staff. Vincent Vinacava was actually trying to help with sponsors, so that's something.
Yeah.
Murphy, you said
In
made a
terms of
logo, and that
people.
was. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, no. Go ahead and finish before I
Murphy made a
jump in.
logo, which I think we covered. Was that was all he did?
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I'm not trying to be an asshole. I'm just trying to recap.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I know there were people like Autumn Ivy, Madame Macabre,
Yep.
different people like that
They were
who.
more just in the advertising realm of things.
Okay.
IV and Macabre were just using their. We were basically. They were just like, hey, we'll make videos to help promote you. And I mean,
Right.
it was working. What I think CreepyPastaCon in a month had garnered 300 followers on Twitter, which
Mm-hmm.
not great, not terrible. And I mean, we were at 400 before the end of this month. So I mean, we were picking up steam. It was working.
Did you did you see that post by Ivy under her business account on Twitter?
No, I did not.
I guess she has. Does she have some business with like toe tags or something?
I'm not.
Weird.
I'm
I
not. I'm not aware. That would be a question for Murphy, who
okay.
yeah, I
Because
don't think he's gonna sit down and talk.
what happened was I found a post on Twitter, and it was from like a business, like a company or whatever, that I think sells like macabre items, like spooky items,
Hmm.
and it said, "I'm looking into this creepypasta convention thing. I have to find out what they have planned for vendors." And so I contacted that person. I replied and said, hey, here's the link to the Creepy Leaks or thing, and if you're interested. And
Yeah.
the response to it was very surprising. The response was, I know about that. I'm Autumn Ivy. I'm part of the convention. And I was like, yeah, yeah, but You just said you have to look into the convention and find out what they're doing. You're representing as you're not the person while you're advertising your own convention. It just kind of struck me funny. So when you said advertising,
That it,
it immediately brought that back to mind.
yeah, yeah. You see, I hadn't.
Uh,
I hadn't heard of
anyway,
that. That doesn't surprise me
that
though.
just makes me laugh. So I kind of got a little
Yeah.
excited there. Um,
No, oh yeah, I'll say, I know that when Autumn went to a convention in Arizona, she handed out physical flyers for the con. If
hmm,
anyone got one of those, I'd hold out to that. That might be a collector item at this point.
damn.
I'd actually love to see one if anyone got a hold of those, because I never got to see them if they came to fruition. I know it was a discussion, and I think they were made. As far as I'm aware, they were made.
Hmm.
But yeah, I'd be curious to know if anyone got this. I forget what it was. I think it was like Phoenix Comic Con was the one that they went to.
I bet if you look online, if they were handed out, I bet there's pictures somewhere on Google image search of somebody taking a picture, saying, there's going to be a Creepypasta convention. I don't know. But we've got a question from Vince. Do you think that MCP is enough of a draw to establish an entire convention around him as the MVP? Um,
1 second. Let me see. What was the question again? I'm sorry.
do you think that Mr. Creepypasta is enough of a draw to establish an entire convention around him as the VIP?
Fuck no. Have you seen how many views his videos get?
Jesus Christ!
He's not. Hell no.
Oh,
Hell no. That's why I kept saying that we needed to branch out beyond just creepypasta. No offense. As far as I'm aware, the vast majority of people who watch his videos and intake creepypasta these days are in the same demographics as Five Nights at Freddy's
mm,
and um, shit like that. So I wanted to actually have a convention, not a daycare.
right, right. God, well, I mean, talk about somewhere a ball pit would be applicable.
Right? I told them, I made a joke. This was the one genuine joke I made at your expense, and I'll admit it. I said we needed a ball pit, and we needed to have only green balls in it. We needed to call it the slime pit.
There you go. I would
I
be
was
okay with that. I'd be
ready to
down with
pay
that.
for that. I was ready to pay for that out of pocket. Maybe put even like the Nickelodeon slime in there too, just to add to it.
Just you could just let me piss in it, like DashCon. Uh oh.
Uh,
I could see it now. Slime Beast killed one of the convention committee by making him hyperventilate.
no, I took a hit off of my
Mm,
vape right when you said that.
uh,
Oh, shit.
somebody.
Yeah, we'll call it Slime Beast Cesspool, just like
There you go.
the section of Too Spooky.
Jesus Christ. Somebody asked previously. I kind of have lost track of some of the questions. I hit the scroll button and fucked up. But I remember somebody asked, why isn't this like YouTube news? And it's because it doesn't bring in hits. It doesn't bring in traffic to
It
discuss
doesn't.
it.
I mean, look how many people are watching this live stream right now.
What is
If
it?
this were something that would bring in YouTube traffic,
Hello
we'd have more
to
than
both of you
35.
watching.
But the two of you watching, you have your answer.
Oh wait, that's the two of us. Damn it. All right.
Fuck,
So,
dude, I'll go on Ellen. I don't care. I'll be the one to talk. Everyone else isn't going to talk. I know better. Everyone's fading into the black abyss. I'll be the one to
right.
talk about this. I'll talk to anyone about this. Hit me up on Twitter. Hit me up on YouTube. Hit me up on anywhere. I'll talk about it.
You
I'll
could sit out with a
talk about
table that says "Creepypasta convention needed saving. Prove me wrong."
it. Right?
So Prasicor says, do the con meetings accomplish anything other than ragging on Slime Beast and the Slime Kids? I think we might have covered that, but
Yeah, they at first they didn't, and then we reined them in, and they started to.
right.
We actually did have to sit down and be like, "Hey, look, if you want to talk about this stuff, do it on your own time." A lot of us are very busy people, and we don't. And when we go into our meetings that were about an hour to an hour and a half, we didn't want to spend 45 to 50 minutes of that
Right. Well,
ragging on people.
what you really shouldn't do for anybody watching this, if you're running a convention or any kind of organization and somebody wants to frustrate you, don't publicize what time and day you have your meetings, because the person who wants to frustrate you is probably going to tweet or post a video right before your meeting.
Oh yeah, I know, and I know you were doing it. I said it. I was like, he's posting these at this time on purpose. He's and every single time for the longest time, you'd have Banning or Xylon or Shadow Swimmer would join and be like, "Did you see the new Slime Beast video?"
God damn it.
And I'd be like, I stay off of YouTube for like an hour. I learned after the first time.
See, that shouldn't work. It shouldn't work, but it works.
It shouldn't, but it does. People fall for things so easily. Again, when people have egos as fragile as some of the people involved,
right,
it's inevitable.
And I should say, it's not about destroying the convention or anything. It's just like, if you guys are gonna like shit talk me and stuff, I'm gonna poke you a little bit. I'll maybe be creative with my timing. I don't know. The puppy fight has a question. He says, "Am I a slime kid? Can all fans be called slime kids?" Yes, I actually plan to do that. I'm gonna call.
Is that what we're going for
Yeah,
now?
everybody is a slime kid now. I'm slime
Everyone's a slime
bitch.
kid.
Welcome to the slime side.
It's the camp. It's a summer camp
Oh boy,
where you drink the Kool-Aid.
that's right. You drink
Which
the
I guess
slime.
is,
Yeah.
and I guess everyone's saying they want slime piss, so I guess that's what the Kool-Aid is slime piss.
Um, I nobody doesn't like Ecto Cooler. I mean, you know. Let's see. I'm not sure if I've missed questions. If I missed your question and you're really incensed about it, you can post it again. Don't worry.
Yeah, I mean, I'm up to sit on here as long as need be until we have 0 viewers. I don't know if you have things you need to do, but
I got
I'm
nothing.
not a busy person anymore, at least.
I just want to point out, Puppy Fight says, "Oh my God, wow, Old Man Murphy did something productive," and Seal Phantom Hive says, "Yes, he did. He made Slime Beast gay." So that's productive, I guess. I don't know. I don't know why that struck me funny. I guess we have no more questions. I guess people are done with us. So I guess, is there anything like really fucking awful that somebody said or did that we haven't covered yet? That's something that needs to be said. I don't know.
Um,
Probably not.
I mean, if there were recordings of all the conversations, I could skim through them and tell you yes, yay or nay. But
Oh. That
if
sounds interesting.
if interesting, hinting at things. Not really. As far as I'm aware, that was the only conversation that ever got recorded.
Right.
Um,
Yeah, I'm just trying to think of like anything that might, like, after we're done, be like, "Oh, by the way, there's this thing," and I'd be like, "Well, damn it, wish we thought of that." But
I don't think so.
okay, cool.
I don't want to give a 100%. Yeah, no, there's nothing. But as far as I'm aware,
We've got a couple new
um,
questions. Did they ever get around to the NDA?
no, the NDA never came around.
Yeah.
Hence
I
why
guess
I'm
since you're
talking.
here.
Yeah, that should be an answer.
Yeah.
The NDA was discussed. I'll tell you this: the reason why the NDA never came around is because it was too expensive. Do you know how much legally drawing up an actual NDA costs? If anyone's aware of this information,
just
it
write it
costs
up
around.
yourself. Just write it up yourself, and then if somebody violates it, take them down with the fact they signed an amateur NDA. Jesus.
Yeah, you see, but that's the thing is we wanted to try and keep this as professional as possible,
Yeah.
or at least we wanted on the business end we did.
Yeah.
So we wanted like actually legally drawn up NDA so that it was like, hey, we don't need to. Oh, excuse me, you don't need to get a 6 months out from the convention have all this information, and then oh, here's everything about the con.
Right.
That's something that we actually wanted to avoid, and I respect Fist, and I mean I brought that up to Fist, and he agreed with me. I'm glad, but yeah, we were going to just have people on the business team sign them since we were the ones dealing with a lot more sensitive information than anyone else. But
Right.
clearly that didn't come around. So
Prasicor says, "How far did they get with the history of Creepypasta book?"
I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh,
Somebody actually
severe
sent
thunderstorm.
me a somebody sent me an Amazon listing for a book that was about the origins of creepypasta, and they said the person who wrote this book is a friend of Shadow Swimmer. They said, are they just going to republish this book? So, well, I was never really sure about that. I
That's a
would
good
have been
question. I
interested to
wouldn't
see.
know.
Yeah.
I wouldn't know. I know that there was a separate section on our Creepypasta Convention Discord for the history of Creepypasta book.
Right.
I never checked it, though. I know
Nightmare.
that.
Oh, sorry again.
Oh, no, I just know that someone had told me, they were like, hey, you should probably reach out to Cleric about this.
Hmm.
Just because I'm the kind of person, I know a lot of useless information about just online history in general.
Now,
But
how involved was Cleric in the channel?
he showed up.
Oh, okay.
That's about all I can say.
Right.
That's all I can say with 100%
Yeah. I was really
confidence.
surprised that he was involved with it. I mean, I know I've said this publicly before, so it's not like a surprise, but I was like
Yeah.
shocked that, because we've had discussions, him and I, about Mr. Creepypasta, and I was like, really? Okay. I never would have thought that you'd want to be involved with that after what you've said about him, but okay.
Yeah.
Um, Nightmare Fanatic says, "Is anything going to happen to these guys? How legal is what they said?" Unfortunately, it's discussion of fantasizing about murdering somebody, which everybody and their mother has said about Justin Bieber, for example.
Yeah,
So it's not
if you could
actionable.
go to
It's just
prison, yeah,
so,
if you could go to prison for that, I don't think any of us would be sitting here right
right.
now.
It's one of those things where it's not legally actionable in terms of police action or arrest or conviction. It's just really fucking stupid to say and really fucking outlandish and crossing a lot of lines, in my opinion.
Most definitely.
Like it's not illegal for Murphy to send me anonymous emails, you know, with a bunch of
Yeah,
bullshit.
it's
But
just, well, for one, childish.
yeah. What do we got here? Why is MCP so scared of Slime Beast? I don't think MCP is. I think Murphy definitely is, but that's just my opinion. Because Murphy, I guess I'm answering questions now. Murphy strikes me as a like nervous talker, like somebody who he's most nervous and most worried when he's saying he's not nervous or worried, like type of thing.
Yeah,
I don't know, but that's just me.
yeah. Give me one quick second. I need to
Sure.
check something real quick.
All right. What else we got here? Slime Bukake, slime shit. Thank you all for your wonderful contributions. Uh, be the history of Slime Beast. That's the thing. I'm not sure if I pronounced it right, but Seal Phantom Hive.
All right.
When
Yeah.
you
Sorry about that.
yeah,
Sorry. I have a leak in my roof inside of my room, and
is
haven't
it
been able to get it
creepy?
repaired yet. And I'm currently. Do you want to know?
Is it a creepy leak? Is it...
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It is a creepy leak. It took me a second. I was like, "What?" No.
Well, I
Yeah,
hope
it is
that
a
works
creepy
out for
leak.
you.
It harasses women that were passed around sexually.
I see. But there's no evidence of that apparently, even though there's. Fuck. I mean, jeez, we could get into a whole thing about that.
Yeah, it's leak. It's the walls are oozing green slime.
I was just
Paradox.
somebody mentioned about the book. They said something about the history of Slime Beast, and I thought that was kind of an interesting jumping off point for just something I was thinking, which is like, I wouldn't be in that fucking book. you know?
They'd be like, there's this guy who wrote Abandoned by Disney, but we don't talk about him.
This guy who wrote Abandoned by Disney, who unfortunately died in a tragic accident when he was too much of an idiot.
Too much of an
Yeah,
idiot.
he was too stupid to breathe.
Stupid debris.
He actually started a site called TooStupid.com.
uh,
I guess. I think we don't have any more questions. So.
Well, here. Okay, I just see one that just popped up.
Oh, cool.
Ryan Lynch asks, as someone who's trying to get into the online horror community and have been keeping an eye on #CreepyLeaks, what would you suggest I look for instead of supporting creepypasta? Ashcan is a good one. The Ashcan community is definitely up and coming. I would just publish short horror fiction and call it that.
Yeah, I mean, do
post
your
your
own
fiction
thing,
and call it horror.
Yeah.
You don't need to rally under any banner to write something and post it. I mean, If you feel like you need to, yeah, I'd say Ashcan maybe is a good one to go with. They aren't stirring the pot up too much.
It's all labels, it's all just stuff that's made up, all made up words for things. Don't
Yeah,
be
don't. I
afraid.
mean,
Oh, go ahead. What were you gonna say? I'm sorry.
no, yeah, no, no. You can go ahead. Go
Oh,
ahead.
don't be afraid to write creepypasta. Don't be afraid to write stories. Don't be afraid to post them. The process, if somebody steals your work, the process is usually very simple to get rid of it. It's usually
Yeah,
streamlined because like YouTube, for example. YouTube made their service, in terms of removing content that's violating a copyright or something. Like, let's say somebody uploads your story and says they wrote it, they cover it with ads and whatever, something that's really stealing your work. YouTube made the process for corporations to get rid of copyrighted material, and as
yeah,
such, they have catered to the corporations, and they've made the process very streamlined and easy because they want the businesses to be happy. So thankfully, that works out for creators too, in that
yeah,
the process is streamlined and easy for us too.
yeah,
So don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to get involved in it. And something that I get involved in, anything that I get involved in with creepypasta in terms of like drama shit or whatever, that's like the worst case scenario. That's like the most outlandish stuff that can happen.
yeah.
No,
And
nobody's
I
going to
mean,
be sending.
if you feel like you need to be under a banner, if you want to go under creepypasta, do it. Be a trailblazer. If you want to try and change a community, change it. It
Right.
doesn't take a massive group of people to change something. If you stick to your convictions and you're just vocal, you can change it. Honestly,
Definitely.
I'll tell you that.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, calling it short horror fiction, calling it instead of creepypasta, you just make up your own name. I don't know if anybody has realized this over the years, but all my stories that I post on my site, I post them under the banner Slimy Stories. And I not once have I called them creepypasta in terms of the actual postings of them. And that's because I always had that feeling like I don't really want to. I don't know if I really want to tie myself to this actual label. I just want to. It's Slimy Stories. They're just mine. I'm just over here by myself. Leave me alone. you know.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Yeah.
Nightmare Fanatic. I definitely don't mind people reading my stories. The only problem, as you pointed out, the only problem is monetization. And even that, people have asked me before, uh, can I monetize the video and do like a charity thing or something like that? And I'm like fine, whatever. But I don't want to set a precedent where people make like a audio book of my stories and then sell it for $10 on Amazon, and when I bring it up, they say, "Well, no, you didn't enforce this on anybody else making money, so now I get to do it," because that's like a legal precedent kind of thing. So that's a problem. Uh, why are you the only crusader raging against the system? I don't know.
Yeah, that's a moral quandary right
uh,
there.
I'm trying to look for things that relate to. Would you ever allow me to read your work sometime in the future? As long as it's not monetized, people can do whatever the fuck they want with my shit, man.
Yeah.
I don't care. Make it into a movie. Make a fold a paper hat out of the pages of the story. I don't know. Uh,
um,
yeah. Okay.
yeah, I'm looking to see because I know
Nighty
that there are people.
Nightmares says kill me. No, thank you. Sorry.
No, pass. I'll
You're
pass.
in
I'm
the
not
wrong
Vincent.
stream. You want to go to
Go to
Kava's channel?
Vincent.
Yeah. All right.
Bu- 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 bu-
Uh, questions. I guess I can just come up with shit, random
Yeah, I mean,
shit.
if you want to.
Um, the you said that there were possible things about was it Pennsylvania for the convention?
Yes.
Why?
Yeah, I mean, I guess I can touch on it. Yeah, I was waiting for that. I was like, ooh, do I talk about it? Yeah, yeah, no. Pennsylvania was probably the most likely place, or was the one that we were looking at the most. I personally, because I'm a Scrooge and I didn't want to have to travel all the way to Pennsylvania, I was recommending the Southeast.
Right.
as a location for the convention, and they just weren't having that. They wanted the Northeast. So yeah, Pennsylvania, anywhere between like Pennsylvania to like I think Delaware, Pennsylvania, Delaware, somewhere in that area
Now,
was what they were looking for.
which one of them wanted it there?
Yeah,
Like,
I mean it's just
it seems very arbitrary. I don't know. I mean,
yeah,
you would think it would be ideally, like if you really were reaching for the stars, you would say New York, California, something like that. If you really were reaching way high up, and
yeah,
since that's not the case, you would think, well, maybe there's some secondary location like Salem, Oregon, or some kind of place where you would have like some interesting location,
yeah. Well, I can
or
tell you the. I'll say this because I don't mind divulging this information because we weren't even going to go with it anyways. The major location we were looking to do actually was a abandoned penitentiary in Pennsylvania.
hmm,
I forget the name of it off the top of my head, but that's what we were really looking to do. Apparently, it was a haunted location, air quotes,
right.
and it had been kind of converted into something that people occasionally used for um, people had used for events in the past, and that's something we were looking into doing. But they wanted like $70,000 for one weekend,
Oof.
and
Ouch.
I don't
Yeah.
think anyone's willing to pay that.
Did they have like enough space for a convention? Did they have like rooms
Yeah,
or?
they did.
Okay, cool.
There was enough space.
Cool, cool.
Of course. I mean, and the biggest thing that I know I kind of got into it with Fist a little bit. Fist did not want to do a hotel. He refused to use a hotel.
Hmm.
Like hotels are cheaper. Just use
And
a
they're
hotel. It's
used to
okay.
having conventions.
Yeah, it's like it's okay. We can use a hotel.
Hmm.
He's like, it's boring though. I don't like it. All the cons I've been to have been in hotels. I'm like, there's a reason for that.
Uh,
Would you rather pay $70,000 for a more rundown location that's supposedly haunted, or pay like I don't know what is it? It was like 15-20K for a hotel. It's fully furnished, and we can rent out the whole hotel, so we have rooms and everything.
find a haunted hotel. Fuck's sake.
I know someone threw out the idea. They're like, "Why don't we use the hotel from The Shining?" It's like, wow, that's even more expensive.
Hmm. What about the
It's
hotel from
like
Psycho? Well, no.
from Psycho.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
no,
don't
I
think
don't
that
think
would
that's
work.
big enough.
Um, so, I just wanted to go quickly back here. Tony Toxic said, "What drop?" They posted the question before about why I'm the person fighting against things, and they uh, echoed that and said, "What drives you to do it?" It's just, I don't know. I took one of those personality tests one time, and it said that I have a personality that is driven to find the errors in what people say, and so that's probably why. I just I was born that way, I guess. Uh, Infinite Cloning says, "Was I really the only one rejected as a volunteer? Do you know? I don't know if you would know how many people were rejected to be volunteers that
I
applied.
don't know. I think you were the only one that was publicly rejected.
Hmm. And let's see.
Between you and I, we know why that was.
Definitely. Questions. No questions. I'm eating cheap noodles. Oh, that's good. Cool.
It's great. Cheap noodles are always a better
You know what we
better
call that?
alternative than no noodles.
You know what we call that, virtuoso? You know what we call that?
What do we call that?
Cheapy pasta.
Creepy pasta?
No, cheapy.
Or crappy pasta? What's the difference?
I don't know. Oh, that's true. I can tell an edgy joke. That's great. That's cool.
Great.
All right. We should calm down on the memeing. Maybe. All right. So
Perhaps.
that's the end of the input from the audience. I guess, were there any plans going forward with the convention? Were there any plans to open up dialogue with the community, or was it basically becoming
um,
more insular? I guess.
we had originally discussed doing an AMA that got shot down.
Really, shot down.
We were planning on doing a podcast, and I had suggested live streams.
Right.
So we were looking to, but I think people were very hesitant because, again, people don't like getting their feelings hurt, I guess, when someone criticizes them.
what if
whether it
they
be
ask
valid
us a
or
question we
invalid.
don't like on the AMA?
Yeah,
Well, you know what?
exactly. It's like that's going to happen regardless. You just have to suck it up and deal with it. That's what happens when you put yourself in a public space.
I mean, if I were behind that, if I were part of that team, I would say we'll have the AMA on the no sleep board, and then Xylon can just delete anything asking bad questions.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like he's no stranger to doing that. Um,
What what was the motivation behind starting the convention? I guess I that would be like the creepypasta wiki folks. I think back at a certain time somebody posted on the site asking why there wasn't one, and I know that a couple of them, like Shadow Swimmer and I think Cleric, I don't know, started talking at that point about, yeah, why isn't there one? Let's start one. And I don't know.
yeah,
I don't know how it all derailed, but yeah.
it
Eventually it
derailed
became
because
Mis-
people got added that shouldn't have been added.
yeah, it became Mr. Creepypasta Convention, starring friends of Mr. Creepypasta. Ooh. All right.
Yeah.
I
What's the
guess
ultimate vision? Do they want just a big one? People screaming for MCP and having artists, writers, games, any day selling stuff. No, what we really wanted to do, I discussed a lot about panels. I wanted to be a big thing. I wanted just there to be a lot of community outreach. I wanted people to be able to, like writers, to get a platform to be able to talk about their processes and like motivations. Helping
right.
other writers freshen up the space. Creepypasta is stagnant. Tell me creepypasta stories that you actually don't, because someone's going to come up with something that I've never heard of and completely prove me wrong. But yeah, creepypasta is stagnant.
I
We haven't had a
remember
major knockout hit in the creepypasta space in years. Like
right.
a major knockout of the park, blow up like Jeff the Killer.
And the funny thing is about that, Jeff the Killer, Slenderman, not creepypastas really.
But no,
In
they were all
terms of how
just
they started out.
images.
Yeah, it's weird. Um,
Which I mean, yeah, that's and I talked about that a lot. I have talked about it, not in that chat, but I've talked about it a lot. You know, these aren't fucking things that were made for creepypasta, and I think maybe that's what creepypasta needs to harken back to, is more find a spooky image and write a good story, or at
right.
least attempt to write a story. I won't call Jeff the Killer a good story by any fucking merits. Even
Um,
2015 has a lot of flaws. Banning will even admit that.
even 2017 had some flaws.
I never read it. I don't need Jeff the Killer to turn into Call of Duty, where there's a new story every year.
Yeah, exactly. I think there is a 2018 too. Um, sort of piggybacking off that question that Neruli posted about big room of people screaming for MCP and so on. Um, did you guys, if you know, did you guys get like any feedback from people that were? I shouldn't say did you get any. Did you guys get much feedback from people who were excited to attend the convention, like other than people who knew Mr. Creepypasta, Vincent Cava, like their friends like
Well,
Autumn Ivy, Madame Macabre?
and that's kind of a sad thing. I didn't really see it. I
Yeah,
personally didn't. I wasn't on the PR side of things, or
right.
handling social media, but I didn't see it.
Okay, because I
I mean, we
noticed.
had 400 followers, but I don't think those 400 followers were posting
Right.
positive things.
I know that Bo Wright person who I don't know and I don't know anything about and is probably a great person, so I'm not dragging them into anything. But I remember
Yeah.
that she posted something about the convention, and I did my usual thing where I was like, just so you know, here's the information.
Yeah.
And I remember in that leaked audio, uh, Callum is saying, he was talking to her and she's a good friend of mine, and I'm like, oh, okay, so it's just another friend who's saying they're excited for the convention. Where are the organic, people who are just randomly in off the street saying that they want to see the convention? It was kind of odd. I mean, I have seen comments from people saying, I hope it's cool, I hope it's good, I'd love to go, that type of thing. But I was wondering, in terms of solid interest of people actually contacting you and saying, where are the tickets, when can I buy them, that type of thing.
Yeah.
But
I
yeah,
mean, there was one person who commented on a Twitter post. I can't remember their username. If I mean, I can go look it up really
that's all right.
quick. Let me find it. Let me actually get a source for something I'm saying for once. Um, which post was it?
Oh, here it is. Okay,
Jesus, man.
Stinkbutt420 said.
Actually, before you jump to that one, I did see something that I kind of wanted to touch on. Let me find it real quick. Someone who, what was their username? Lance's creepy writing asked, and I guess this is pretty much a question for both of us. Do you think creepypasta as a whole is dying?
It's. I guess I'll go first for no reason. Um, as I just start talking, it's kind of an odd question because it sort of is like I think it's a natural settling. I think the foundation is settling. I think that creepypasta will always have a place in the same area as romantic slash fic and like Transformers fanfic, different things like that where I think none of those subgenres of online writing are at the forefront. You don't see a lot of videos of people reading people's fan stories about Steven Universe. And that's because they're a closed community. They're basically doing their own thing and they enjoy it with themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And, nobody's talking about making a movie out of, the story where, one character does something to the other character. I think it's like a natural settling now where creepypasta is to a certain extent dying, but it's, I think, dying away back to its like footprint. It sort of was growing out into mainstream consciousness. People sort of got interested in it from outside, got TV shows, got movies, things like that, and I think it sort of is dying away back into that area where it's like, well, no, creepypasta probably is going to end up being a little group of people doing things that they enjoy together, and not necessarily this big Hollywood endeavor. You know,
Yeah.
I don't know. That's my take on it.
Yeah. I think that just personally, I feel like creepypasta. Yeah, I can agree that it is sort of just settling at this point. Like it's over the hump. Um, I want to say that it's maturing, but I don't think it's maturing per se. I just think I think that what can do creepypasta best to stop it from just becoming irrelevant and dying per se.
Mm-hmm.
I think it needs a new set of writers with a new perspective to
Possibly.
really potentially harken back to that feeling of it
Right.
just being campfire stories,
I mean, creepypasta right
folklore.
now is so many things that it's kind of hard to. It's hard to even know anymore. Like, a creepypasta can be like a detective noir story someone posts up that has a monster in it.
Yeah,
A creepypasta can be one sentence. It's so many different things now that it's sort of like I think the label itself is sort of dying away, but I mean it's basically just online horror fiction, and that is never going to really die.
yeah,
It's just maybe the label will have a bit less power. I don't know.
yeah. I mean, because yeah, the label has been expanded because originally creepypasta was just folklore.
And I see Anti Paradox kind of said what I was saying before I said it as I scroll down.
Yeah.
Uh, narrator.
Um,
Yeah, okay. What's your opinion of the No Sleep podcast? I haven't listened to it ever.
Neither have I.
Uh,
I'm not a big podcast listener in that vein.
yeah, I think people. It's interesting. I don't think people realize sometimes. I don't really care what a lot of people are doing out there um, until it comes into my line of sight or it otherwise involves me. Like, Xylon X, I didn't know who he was, and he could continue fighting Chilling Tales for Dark Nights. He could have continued all the different things he was doing, and I never would have known about it, except for the fact that I went to No Sleep's OOC channel or subreddit and posted up something about the Creepy Leaks thing, and Xylon deleted it, accused me of being under an alt account, and called me a psychopath, and all these things like that. And then I was like, oh,
Mhm.
okay, well, I guess who is this guy now? I guess I'm interested in him because you know. So I
Yeah,
mean, I don't really listen to the No Sleep podcast. I don't really know much about them, but
yeah.
I don't
I
know
know there
who
was
any
some
of the other
controversy
mods
surrounding
are.
them and this con, but
I'm sorry, go ahead.
That's about the most I know. I was just saying, I know that there was some controversy surrounding them not too long ago. I don't
Uh,
know exactly what it was. I just know that there was controversy.
by the way, interesting tidbit. Um, Xylon X on the, I guess in at least in the planning Discord channel for the convention. I don't know if he was actually on the staff or whatever. But interesting tidbit. I was messaged before all of this convention stuff, like way back when I was first talking with Xylon. Somebody messaged me with information I can't verify, of course, saying that No Sleep was going to have a meetup and that it was canceled because nobody wanted to be at a meetup where Xylon was.
I heard the same. I heard the same thing, and I can't confirm nor deny that
Yeah, I mean,
because I don't
it may
know.
not be
But
true,
I heard the same thing.
but either way, it's pretty funny that he's on a convention
Funny
committee.
concept.
But yeah,
I mean, it's literally a case of, and I mean, and I'll say this: we came to a point where it was like we can't publicly tie Xylon to this. We'd never get a location.
right.
You can't. No. Event location in their right mind would ever lease out or rent out their event, their space to a group that has someone who's been charged with terrorism.
Right. Naruli says, "Do you feel that like the title itself is holding people back from becoming bigger or good writers, being written off because of their affiliation to creepypasta?"
I feel like it is.
Yeah.
I personally do. I think that because I still think that the creepypasta has a stigmatism of being, or at least it's stigmatized now to being a very mediocre horror fiction. It's horror fan fiction. It's the closest parallel I can draw to it.
I think the
It
biggest
is what it's
thing.
evolved into.
I think the biggest thing to happen, and this is a big thing, but not for the reason people will assume. I think the biggest thing to happen to destroy or to hurt or to whatever creepypasta was the Slenderman stabbing, but
Yes.
not for the reason people would think. I don't think it's that it gave a black eye to it because of the stabbing. I think it was a point where people within the community could have realized that it was basically courting an audience of younger and younger and younger people. you know, I don't know how to phrase it exactly. Like, you know how Five Nights at Freddy's sort of started out as a game everybody was playing, and now essentially the fandom has become like a lot of stuff for kids. Like Matt Pat, doing game theory
Yeah.
videos and different things like that. I think that
I
sort
mean,
of was like a warning sign of the creepypasta audience that's most invested in your work is starting to become younger and younger and be mostly like maladjusted kids. Like that
yeah.
should have been a point where people sort of stepped back a bit and said, what can we do to maybe mature the content, to maybe bring it up a bit from certain things. And maybe that's just me being judgmental, but I think that was like a big warning sign of what would eventually, if creepypasta dies, I think it's going to die because it's associated with uh, obnoxious kids. Anyway,
It's yeah. I mean, I can add on to that a little bit. I mean, I know a narrator, and that's all I'll say to that because I don't want to out them in any way, just because some
right.
people don't like having their name dropped everywhere. But I
Yep.
know a narrator who's told me stories of when they used to attend conventions, they would be approached. They started noticing they were being approached by less people who are maybe anywhere between like 14 and like 23 instead of being approached by 7-year olds, 10-year olds, in
Right.
that age bracket, and I think that's very telling considering creepypasta was never made to be for children.
Right. Right. I mean, you look back at the Something Awful forum, and boy howdy, talk about a place that wasn't child friendly. you know,
Alright.
you look at 4chan. where all of this started. Not very child friendly places, at least not in the way people would usually mean friendly to children. Um, you know, but now I guess I don't want to sound like a complete dick, but I guess with the advent of YouTube taking the primary focus for creepypasta, it has become that thing where you're basically trying to get the biggest audience you can and get the revenue and everything, and that's always going to be with the younger crowd. I don't know.
Mhm.
Maybe I'm digging too much into this, and I don't know. Whatever. Uh, blah 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 blah. Mr. Black Pasta told me he used to work for Chilling Tales for Dark Nights. Apparently, the owner is a huge asshole, says Lance. You know, here's the thing. Pretty much everybody is an asshole if they're in charge of you and if they're telling you what to do and if they're running a company, whatever. Every boss is pretty much an asshole. And
Yeah.
I'm not going to defend Craig Groshenk of Chilling Tales. I'm not going to defend Otis Gyrie, who's the voice actor who's smarted off to people. They can defend themselves because they're big boys. But the thing is, I'm not really going to go after people for being asshole bosses or people who were snotty or nasty in dealing with creators or things like that. I'm going to go after the people who are actually bilking people, who are actually stealing from creators, people who are actually, being abusive to a degree where I'm like, okay, that's not just being that's not just being an asshole to people. But
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know. That's sort of a tangent, I guess. Uh,
Yeah.
frick. I'm losing track of questions because it keeps scrolling to the bottom. But anti-paradox. Can someone summarize the whole Xylon criminal record thing? Would you like to do that, or shall I?
You seem to be a bit more knowledgeable on that. So
Um,
if you feel like it's something that should be summarized once again, by
well,
all
I
means.
see. The thing is, I don't want people to misinterpret something I say, so I'll explain it just so people know the actual thing about it. Um, years and years and years and years ago, when Xylon was in his 20s, I believe. He's a young guy, not thinking really clearly, probably, making mistakes like a lot of us do. Um, Apparently called in a bomb threat to his college, and as part of the bomb threat, made a demand for money. Now, I don't know the details of it, but I would assume it was for some reason other than actually making a bomb threat for money. I don't know whether he wasn't finished with a school report he had to turn in, or I don't know what the deal was. But since he actually did that for whatever reason, allegedly, and I think convicted of it, if not pled guilty. Um, since he did do that for whatever reason, he's has a record for terrorism and extortion.
Yeah.
Now, this is many, many years ago in college. Uh, Very stupid thing to do, but you can't go forward in life pretending that nobody can ever acknowledge that when you're, as has been discussed in this call, when you're trying to find venues for a convention and different things like that.
Yeah.
You can't. It's not something where you can bypass that and pretend it didn't happen. So
Oh yeah. No, you really can't.
yeah. I don't know. Have you seen any questions I've missed? I don't know.
Um, I tabbed out for a second. Let me look real
Oh, sorry.
quick.
Put you on the spot.
I'm slowly
Who's
drifting
worse,
towards
Landis or
my
Kava? Landis has never
ish.
threatened, or not threatened. He's never talked about killing me, to my knowledge.
Yeah.
But Max Landis is just a prick in general.
I mean, there's a lot of people who are pricks in this community. Let's be
Yeah,
real.
right. Well, that's why I said
People
I'm
are
not
just
going to get
pricks
on
in
Chilling
general.
Tales for Dark Nights, because there's a lot of pricks. So what, if somebody from Chilling Tales is a prick to somebody else, I don't, okay,
Yeah.
call them a prick. I don't know. All right. Well, I guess I. Oh wait, here we go. Is there any way to get a convention without it also being forever associated with what happened? Oh, that's a
I
good
think so.
question. Yeah.
I do think so. I think that it's just going to have to be, like I've said, you can't brand it as creepypasta. You have to brand it as online horror, which I think is the way to go. I think that's the only way that a convention like this will ever be able to truly get off the ground. You can't
Right.
limit yourself.
I would say probably no convention can occur successfully if it's organized with the involvement of MCP, Vincent Vinacava, and Murphy, primarily because a lot of what they have been accused of relates to conventions and trips and things like that. But also I think a big part of that is just that they will, from past experience, they seem to sabotage their own shit. I don't know if they can pull off something like that without some terrible thing happening. I don't know. What
Yeah.
stories would you two recommend? Nightmare Fanatic says. Mine, I don't know.
I've always been a fan. I mean, if we're just talking creepypasta, um, I've always liked Psychosis. That's been a personal favorite of mine just because it's long and it does a good job of building suspense and inspiring a genuine doubt in the main character. But I mean, like I said, if I had to pick a creepypasta, that'd be mine.
Uh, I'm not sure how to pronounce this. Gauf or Goof Pilot 117 says, I did ask, and I'm gonna bring this up because it seems they asked this before. I did ask if old pervert Murphy and MCP were pretty much killing creepypasta with all this shit.
I don't think they're killing creepypasta. I think they're killing their own careers.
Right. I do think to a certain extent, YouTube narrators in general who pick stories to make filler for their channel as opposed to quality, like if you're uploading videos every day and you need to narrate a story every day or almost every day, you're going to be picking things based on the length of the story and whether or not you can make a video out of it and monetize it, as opposed to selecting stories that are quality. So I think to a certain extent, I think that sort of does create some of the idea that, oh, the creepypasta is teenager in a hoodie stabs his family, for the 50 millionth time.
Yeah.
Creepypasta is, these things that are just like, shoved out there to meet a quota. And I think that can sort of dissolve it. I do also think that there's, a lot of stagnation in the fact that a lot of them cover the same stories and things like that. So, I don't
Yeah.
know. I wouldn't say that they're specifically killing it. I think it's just a factor toward the stagnation of everything.
Yeah.
What
I
else
mean,
we got?
I think that's an argument that made sense. Community became a big thing was that narration isn't doing a whole lot of good because it's taking the focus off of writers,
Right.
put the
Yeah, I mean,
focus on a voice as opposed to creativity. People just want something that can be read well, that can be done as an audio drama as opposed to an actual story.
when you go to the Creepypasta wiki or creepypasta.com or No Sleep or any of these places, you come away from that with a story that you've read. When
Mm-hmm.
you go to most, I won't say all, but when you go to most narration channels, you come away with an idea of who the narrator is and where you can find his merch and different things like that.
Mm-hmm.
So I probably am biased, of course, but I think that to a certain extent it is more about the personality of the person presenting the stories than it is about the stories. Whereas in a repository site, all there is the stories, so of course it's about the stories.
Yeah.
Anyway, only person that is hurting the convention is Slime Beast. Not possibly. uh,
um,
Horror Online Expo says Infinite Cloning. There's an idea for you. Expo.
Horror Online Expo.
Mm.
Who
The
said that?
HOE. Assuming
I'm not
another.
even
Oh,
going
okay.
to.
Sorry.
Please tell me you understand the
Yeah, I
joke he's
understand
making.
HOE. I understand that.
Okay. I'm just making sure because he's made that joke to me in the past.
God damn it.
I know what you're doing.
The hoe. That's
You're not
that's
fooling anyone.
that's a creature like the rake. Um, Neruli says, assuming another one pops up and MCP wants to attend with no affiliation to the actual convention, would that be a problem or no? No, not in
I
my
don't think so.
estimation.
Again, I've already said an all-inclusive event. He would just be a normal guest though, and whatever, and he wouldn't have any special treatment. If I were the one running an event, I would extend an invite to Slime Beast, and I would extend an invite to Mr. Creepypasta because they both have their own respective audiences, and I think they both should have a platform to speak if they so choose to take it.
Now, would you extend an invitation to me like Shadow Swimmer did and say, Slime Beast, we want you on at the convention. You can be on a panel where you argue with Caleb Callum.
No, I
Like
would do it more
what?
like
I was
I mean,
like,
if you wanted to, by all means, if you want to, look, I suggested this was a joke I made a few times. I said, what we need to do is if we can get Slime Beast to attend, we don't tell him or anyone else that we want involved in this that they're actually going to be a cage fight
God.
between him and Mr. Creepypasta
Oh,
and
nice.
Vincent Vinacava.
But don't.
And they have to fight over a briefcase that has the supposed $9,000 that's missing,
Well, I would be
as opposed
interested.
to from the Creepy Leaks document.
I would be interested in attending a convention like that, possibly in the future. But don't let that distract you from the time Undertaker threw Mankind off Hell in a Cell, and he plummeted. That's that old meme. Um, yeah, I mean that's the thing. I don't know if people realize this, but when Shadow Swimmer contacted me about the convention and he was asking for my advice, I said to him, uh, "Unfortunately, you're going to have to contact a lot of the big YouTubers who do creepypasta narration because their audiences will probably be instrumental in gaining interest for your convention." And so I suggested getting big name people. I just didn't suggest making their friends your staff and all this shit. But yeah. I mean, that's the thing.
uh,
I have no problem with MCP attending a frickin' convention. Who gives a shit?
yeah,
Uh,
I,
what else we got here? There's a dearth of
I,
narrators who keep their work and practices ethical, says Midnight Marinera. I recognize that name.
that's do I.
Yeah, I mean, this is the thing. I was planning, and this is sort of going off topic, but I was planning to make a video that I never made. Um, it's Mr. Creepypasta at a convention, and he's telling people about what they can do to start their own channel. And he's standing up there saying, make sure that you own all the work in your video. And I was going to put that next to just an image of his channel, which is all these thumbnails of cropped out artwork, from movies, from television, from book covers, cropping out the title of the book and the name of the artist. I was going to, all the stories that, are other people's stories, all the music that's Miyuji's music, which he stole in the first place. It's like, you know, kind of an interesting thing, just thinking of that, where Midnight Marinera says keeping work practices ethical is he understands because he can tell other people be ethical,
Which
own your
tells you that
work.
it's willful ignorance then,
Yeah,
or yeah, just a willful ignorance on his part.
yeah, he knows what he's saying. He knows what he's doing.
Hmm.
Uh, every time I try to scroll down to see if there are new questions, it automatically goes to the bottom, which sucks. Fuck. We're probably gonna. I would assume we'll probably wrap this up soon because it's like the last drops of what we can answer or whatever.
Yeah.
I think I ran out of stuff to ask about the convention long ago. I mean, basically, my umbrella question is: so, what'd they say about me?
um,
It's very
I'm pretty sure
interesting.
you know the big point. You know the big
Oh
one
yeah.
at this point. You know the
Uh,
big thing that was said. Anything else is stuff that you've already probably seen 1,000 times over.
it's sort of like, when you're a kid and you're living your day-to-day life, you're just interested in the stuff you're interested in. You play, you climb trees, things like that. You're not really, looking for more out of life. But then when somebody says, hey, here's this gift for you. Then you're like, oh, what's the gift? I must know what this gift is. So, when I go about my business, when I'm doing my everyday stuff, it's fine. And then something comes up where it's like, here's some information. And I'm like, oh, now I'm interested. Now I want to find out what's going on.
Yeah,
Bunch of people
you
talking
know,
about stuff.
French.
Yeah. Do
Um,
they actually have any plans for the convention? Vince, I'm not
doesn't seem
sure.
like it at this point.
Yeah, I'm not sure when you joined us, but the convention is basically dead, from what we understand.
Slime Beast killed it.
Maybe
Murderer.
we could swap out the do for did. Did they actually
Dead.
have plans for Q&As, movie screenings, haunted house attractions, celebrity autographs, etc.?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. One of the major things that I covered was I discussed heavily the thought of having a having a film fest of some kind, showcasing horror creators, both online and in the more traditional. I don't know what I'm looking. Don't know what word I'm looking for. Like
Um.
Hollywood.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Neruli says, were there any other innocent people in this that may be dragged down because of it? I get. You mean
Um.
like people whose reputations would be tarnished by being associated with the convention? I don't know. I think that's
I
what the question is.
Yeah. I would honestly say I think Wendingus of all people, because while she was participating in the conversation, she was very new to what was going on.
Right.
She was very, very new to everything.
Well, I mean, the thing is, for me, there has to be like intent, and I think somebody who's new, somebody who's trying to fit in, somebody who maybe is a bit starstruck. I don't know if she is, but I'm just saying in general. Somebody who's like, I'm talking to the Vincent Vinacava or whatever. I can
Gee,
sort of,
Vincent.
yeah, I can sort of forget. I can sort of forgive, stuff like that where it's like, I'm not gonna say, oh, Wendingus is such a, monster, a modern day Hitler. No, it's somebody who was new to something, wanted to be involved in something, and maybe, hopefully, didn't realize that they were discussing killing somebody for critiquing uh, Banning's story and pointing out that Vincent Vinacava was trying to trademark Creepypasta. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. A lot of people, especially in private, people will say things they don't believe. So
Oh yeah, all the time.
is there anyone?
Happens. It happens too often.
Yeah. Is there anyone that you'd think would add to the convention in a positive and productive way? Says Vince. Anybody else?
I honestly think Slime Beast. I think Slime Beast could have. I really do
Ah.
think you could have. I think you have a very practical understanding of things that might have needed to be done.
Well, I mean, I did.
Um,
I did tell Shadow Swimmer, various things. So, I mean, I don't know if this is a good question. Did Shadow Swimmer forward to you guys anything as I was saying to him?
Not really, no.
Oh, fuck. Of course not. Uh, well, I think we're pretty much done, wouldn't you say? I think we covered a lot of stuff.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think so.
All right. If something else comes up, we could always just put it on Twitter or something.
Yeah, pretty much. If anyone wants to reach out to me, I guess at this point I'll shamelessly self-plug. If anyone wants to reach out to me, my Twitter handle is, let me check, at Sonzai Suryu. I'll put that in chat because
Yeah.
that's all
Put that in
moon
chat because I
speak.
don't think anybody can spell that.
Yeah.
Slimy,
I have to
don't
look how
leave
to
us.
spell
Oh,
my own
please.
Twitter handle because you can tell I just totally knew what I was writing.
AJ Wright
Let
mentions,
me
is an
try and
online
load up.
convention possible? I personally think that there's a possible future in online conventions. I've
That's my Twitter right down there.
All right,
Um,
SONZAI. SURUIYU. Perfect.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Um,
I think
yeah,
online conventions are a good idea for the future. But yeah, sorry.
yeah, no, sorry. My YouTube is this OW account that you see right here. I might start making videos now, honestly.
Right. Make narration videos.
Yeah, right. I should start making creepypasta narrations. I did that when I
Oh,
was like 12. Let me unprivate some of
oh,
those if they
geez,
aren't
yeah.
already privated, or just go make fun of me. Um,
Make a diss track, maybe.
maybe I'll start talking about stuff like this more. Maybe I'll follow in your footsteps,
Oh
Slime Beast.
God. But get ready,
I'll write out this
get
as long
ready
as
for
I
the
can.
anonymous death threats from Murphy. Do comic readings. Funny thing, Mr. Creepypasta actually used to do comic readings where he would crop out the names of the people who made the comic.
Yeah, I remember that.
Uh,
I do remember that. Oh man, how long have we been going now?
5
Uh,
years.
you called me at 8 o'clock.
Jesus.
It's 10 now.
Well,
It's been going almost exactly 2 hours. I think that's a fair live stream.
hey,
I think we've covered some good
yeah.
ground.
Invite Slime Beast to talk. See what that gets you. Fucking 2 hours of talking. Uh, but yeah, I think we're out. We're out of questions and everything, so that's good. All right, so
Yeah.
I want to thank you very much for doing what. How nasty should I be? Give me like a number from 1 to 10 of how nasty I should be right now.
How nasty you should be.
Yeah, like how mean I should be.
Um, 7.
Okay. I want to thank you for being the only one out of the entire group with the balls to talk to somebody. um,
Yeah.
I want to thank you for trying your hardest to save the convention when people were doing their damnedest to torpedo it. It couldn't have been easy. I mostly want to give my condolences for you having to sit in on the conversations. All I can say is that you're welcome for the fact that there won't be any more.
Yeah.
I guess.
Here, I'm gonna shoot you my I'm gonna shoot you my Twitter because people apparently can't find it.
Oh, okay.
You can link it somewhere, and I can't post it in the chat because YouTube doesn't like that.
Are you trying to make people leave our site? We don't
you
like
want to
that.
you want a social media following? Fuck you. But yeah, no. I'm glad you had me on. Again, if anyone else wants to have me talk, I'm open to it.
Right. Yeah, I mean,
Whether any platform,
right.
shoot me a message.
Anti-Paradox is asking you for threatening to shoot people.
Oh man,
No, he wants you to shoot
quick!
him
Someone
a
delete the
message.
recording.
All right, so I guess we'll wind it up there. I'll put the link in the description.
All right,
Yeah.
thanks, man.
And do you have any parting words? Like
Uh,
that you love
look forward.
everybody?
Look forward to Online Horror Expo 2020.
That's right. Come to Ho
Uh,
2020. All right. I guess
oh
that's it.
no, OHE. I'm not using how.
Okay. All right. I guess that's it. I'll stop the stream now. Goodbye, everybody. Thanks for joining us. There's not really anything more to say, so